Well, some South Africans still unclear tonight on how the 21-day lockdown will impact them practically. Several countries have already implemented lockdowns of their own to try and stop the spread of this COVID-19 pandemic. One of them is Italy. Now, currently the country worst affected, with the death toll rising by the hundreds daily. Kat Walker is a South African we spoke to, you remember, just about a week ago, currently living in Italy. She's back with us tonight via Skype. Kat, good to see you again. So the picture in Italy getting grimmer by the day. How are you holding up?
So we are on day 15 of our initially planned 25-day lockdown, and since we had 743 deaths today, it does look like it's going to be extended. So it is quite a harrowing time. We've been trying to keep our heads high and try to stay positive, but it is something that is definitely very challenging.
And as this death toll rises by the hundreds daily, what's been striking in the past 48 hours or so is the anger from some officials at people who are still ignoring the lockdown. Why is that still happening?
I guess, as I've said in other interviews as well, is just the fact that some people still feel very far away from this. This feels like something that isn't happening to them. This is a disease that is far away from them, that they can't really be affected by. But it's also just a disconnect with how much they are actually impacting on this scenario.
And as a South African then, Kat, who's in Italy, I mean, we're dealing with the crisis of our own, no deaths yet, fortunately, at this stage. Are you considering coming home?
At this stage, no. I'd like to still continue my studies here and possibly study further as well in Italy. But at this stage, even if there was a continued lockdown here in Italy, I think it would be safer both for myself, my family, and everyone that I might come into contact with for me to stay in the country that is affected currently.
What is the feeling then among the community that you are part of about when this will all pass? Are people losing hope that it'll get better?
At this stage, it seems like everyone is very much positive about the peak being either this week or next week, and that means possibly being able to go back to a semblance of normal life in the coming weeks after that. But I think that it's still very much up to the numbers that we're being given daily, and also hopefully we'll hear soon from our Prime Minister again on any further measures to be taken.
And what's being done then to keep people calm, health workers as well, because this sort of tragedy does take its toll on people's mental well-being in particular?
I think that's very much something that's being addressed personally by each person. I'm maintaining a lot of contact with my family and friends that are back in South Africa, but also my friends that are also based here in Italy. We've been supporting one another through a lot of Skype calls, a lot of FaceTime, just to really keep our spirits high and to remember what we're here to do, to stay positive and to stay focused on our studies and our mission.
And just on the studies, how much progress are you making with that, given the circumstances?
Our class schedule is continuing mainly as per normal. There were a couple lectures earlier, a couple weeks ago, that had to be cancelled, but others have been able to carry on via online platforms, as well as other online readings and tests that have been administered online. And it looks like that we'll be able to continue as per the original schedule like that.
And lastly then, Kat, when you speak to friends and family who are still in South Africa, how do those conversations go, given just the levels of anxiety in both countries at this stage?
I think generally, most of the time it starts with a "I'm okay" and "I promise." And from there on out, it's sort of giving an update of everything that's happening on my side. The amount of deaths per day is always a hot topic of conversation, and also very much an effort from their side of what can they do to help me through this time. And most of that has been psychological help, any kind of support that they can offer me emotionally, or even just by sending me recommendations for movies or documentaries or that type of thing. Everybody's really been reaching out and trying to help in the best way they can.
Would you say they are afraid for you?
I think initially, yes, but I think that the situation's been kind of sketched as I've been trying to explain to people, and as my message has been going across South Africa, that I am not a potential victim in this scenario necessarily as much as I am a potential carrier. And I think from that perspective, it's really changed more from are you okay to are you going to be okay psychologically.
Kat Walker, a South African currently studying in Italy, which is the present epicenter of this COVID-19 pandemic. Great speaking to you tonight, Kat. As always, we've been speaking to Kat now. This is our second conversation with her in the space of about a week. We will continue to touch base with South Africans in various other parts of the country as we track the movements of this global outbreak. And